My name, or rather my fake name, is Trace, spelled with an S, or maybe Tracer. I write and paint graffiti on this, that, and the other. I've been doing it for some time, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina. My tag, so to speak, is Tracer. I had written some other stuff before, back when I was much younger. I wanted a new word, and I wanted different letters that I could do more with. And I tried to find it, and went through like probably 6 month, basically hiatus from painting while trying to find this new word. And eventually it just kind of came to me one day, and I've stuck with it ever since. I got started back where I'm from, which is not here, in early high school. I think it was probably 2011. And my older brother had done it when he was younger, and I always thought that everything he does is the coolest. I had just hooked up with some buddies who were also doing it, specifically one who is still my good friend and painting partner to this day. And he was doing it, and I was like, man, you know, this seems really cool. And I was into skateboarding. I specifically remember one day saying, yeah, I think I'm gonna try doing this. My older brother was like, right on, man, you should. And I did, and I kept doing it, and here I am, still doing it. The graffiti definitely got me into being into art and considering myself an artist and wanting to follow a creative path for sure. I did draw and stuff before then. I would copy comic books and anime graphic novels, I guess is what you call them. I would just basically copy those, and then I copied them enough and then would make my own little characters, that kind of thing. But then I never really considered that my thing, you know. But then when graffiti came around, that really became my thing. And in later high school and on, beyond that, I became much more interested in art and made me want to pursue a creative path. The way a piece of graffiti for me starts, I mean, there's a general conception I have in my head of what I generally want. And I mean, I think about that kind of stuff all day. I doodle about it, I have ideas, I think they might work, I see other people's stuff. I'm like, oh man, I can incorporate that into mine. So really there's just a repetitive thought process that really goes into it. So when I sketch, erasing is probably 70% of my entire drawing process. And that's, I'll draw it out really rough, just wild, expressive lines. And then, that's totally what I see in my head. I just go and I do, 5 lines where one line should be, trying to figure out how wide or thin or which angle, all that good stuff. And then once I have a pretty good idea of that, I try to fill in a little darker, kind of darkening in of the outline that I like across the entire piece. And then I do this weird thing where I'm like, okay, tight, and I erase the entire thing. I just erase it, not until it's invisible, but I fade it a lot. And then I'll go in with a pen or with color and do that on top where these ghost pencil lines are. So I doodle for a while, then I do more involved, more thumbnail stuff, and then I'll sit down and really try to do a hard thought out sketch, and I try to take into consideration what colors I think would look good with this particular sketch, or which way I should do my 3D in this when I actually put it on a wall, depending on where it is. Maybe I'm already thinking about where it is going to be, whether it's on a train car as opposed to a wall. I theorize about the colors. I don't usually have that nailed down until I'm really painting, and even then I don't usually have it nailed down. Yeah, and then I need to acquire paint. A lot of times I'll have some massive paint that I acquired through some means, and I'll use that to determine what colors I'm actually going to use for the piece. So I look at what I have and I say, okay, well, I'll be able to use these for this and these for this, and it'll all work in the end. But sometimes I'll think of a piece, think of what colors I want to go into it, and I'll go out and specifically get those ones for the mission. The reason I love graffiti more than I love the other forms of art that I do, whether I'm doing it for recognition or not, I'm really doing it for myself in the end, and I'm putting it out there to present to other people, and I'm not getting paid for it. If anything, I'm losing money and time and resources for it, but I still go out there, and I know it might get destroyed or covered up, and I still go out there and do it. It just seems very pure artistically to me. It's also plain and simple, it's really, really fun. It's a rush and it's exciting, and when I go around I get to look and see my name, or my friends can be like, oh, I saw this thing that you did, and I'm like, yeah, sweet, like I'm glad you saw that, I'm glad someone saw it. The reason I choose walls and publicity as opposed to doing it on canvas and posting it on Instagram or putting it in a gallery, when it's outside of a gallery space, you're really, I mean, you're doing it for your own ego and like reputation or whatever. But really, when you think about it, you're not doing it for anyone but yourself. That's another part. It's like the most like inherently temporal or temporary thing that you could do in art. So people are going out night after night and they're putting this thing that they've worked on and thought about into the street for others to see for no other reason except to have people see it. I mean, I just think that's the coolest thing in the world.